Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Sonic Odyssey, the video channel dedicated to bringing you the last 5 decades or so of music from many different styles and genres up through the present, including today's selection. Before we begin, let me remind you to like, share, and subscribe to the video channel so you can stay up to date with all things Sonic Odyssey. And if you're so inclined, I don't make any money off of these videos from YouTube because I include music clips in my videos, so I have to rely on the generosity of my viewers to take a look at my Patreon page, the link for which is in the show description below. And you can go to the Patreon page. Anything from a couple of dollars a month would be grateful and would be very helpful to keeping the channel going and helping to keep the lights on here at Sonic Odyssey. So if you can find yourself making a small stop over at the Patreon campaign page, would really appreciate it. Okay, today we're going to be looking at a band from Israel, of all places, and probably a band that hasn't gotten too much radio play or fame outside of Israel, but their debut album, after 7 years of playing together, their debut album is just undeniably brilliant, and it is called Pillars of Creation. So why don't we get things started with a little bit of a taste of Pillars of Creation by Obsidian Tide. The track we're going to hear a bit from is called King of a New Realm.
I have known seem to overlook my pain. In the depths of the smoke I found it, the refuge that was gold to me.
As you can hear in that snippet, there's a definite progressive feeling to the band, and that's probably one of the best ways to describe Obsidian Tide. They are a progressive heavy metal band. They're not really hardcore heavy metal, but at times they do reach into the heavier elements of the heavy metal spectrum. Really great stuff. Some of the most phenomenal musicianship that I've heard from a debut album in a long time, and I really hope that you enjoyed that snippet that you heard. How about a little backstory, a little bit of a history here. As I said, Obsidian Tide is from Israel, and they're made up of the founding member, Oz Avnea, on guitar and lead clean vocals, Shashar Bieber on bass and harsh vocals, and Erez Nadler on drums and percussion. They do feature quite a number of guest musicians on the album to help fill in the sound of the progressive style of the music. They have, for instance, piano, violin, flute, and saxophone, to name a few. So they really have a very full-sounding progressive album here. Pillars of Creation as an album itself is a concept album that tells the story of a man who is going on a journey of enlightenment, and the things that happen along the way, the things that he encounters, the stories that he experiences, and the shattering truths that he discovers. He finds along the way ultimately that perhaps the best thing to do in the end is to simply follow his own conscience. And this choice, this decision to follow his own conscience, changes everything about what he believes. To give us a little bit of a sense of that, we'll hear another bit of a track. This one is called The Harbinger and the Millennial Vengeance. So let's give a listen to that.
As the true gods break their bonds of clay, must bleed to yield its core, and all that pain will be no more.
The Harbinger and the Millennial Vengeance is another song that is sweeping in its scope of progressive styles. The clean and harsh vocals beautifully blend together to tell the story, and it's a marvelous example of just outstanding, mature musicianship from these three young men. Again, they formed in 2012, and they released an EP in 2015, but this is their first full-length album release. They don't really have much for me to say about them. It's not easy to find a lot of information on the internet about about Obsidian Tide or the album Pillars of Creation. I had to do quite a lot of deep digging and deep diving through the internet to get what information I could, including just the band members' names. It's a marvelous progressive rock album, progressive heavy metal album. It has bits of Opeth and bits of Yes. It's got elements of many different styles and many different categories of music mixed in together in the 55 minutes that it takes to listen to the album. So with that being said, I really can't say too much more, unfortunately. I wish I could share more, and hopefully maybe some of you will have something that you can share in the comments section below, because I'd really love to discuss this band. They are a new discovery for me, and one that I feel is really spectacular. I give this album a definite 5 out of 5 stars. Blown away by it from beginning to end. There's not a sleeper on this album. There's not any filler. It's not long, or there's no sense of something could have been pared down or whittled down to accommodate time or size. It's just a perfect progressive heavy metal album, and I really enjoy it greatly. It's got softness and harshness. It's got light of day and great hope. So I hope that you'll give it a chance. Again, it is Obsidian Tide with the album Pillars of Creation. So with that being said, please remember to visit our Patreon page and also subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date with all things Sonic Odyssey. And short and sweet today. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.